we're talking about this device right here. This is called the ITB. And it's a biometric device, fingerprint reader, cannot be fooled. Unlike the phone's fingerprint readers. It detects whether or not you're alive or not when you use it, and it detects whether or not you're volunteering to actually be involved in the transaction of whether or not you're opening up a wallet or doing a transaction. You have to be willing, you're not under duress. I'm going to turn it off, but turn it back on because it blinks a lot and it makes for good paying attention.
Okay, so while they're getting the slide presentation up, I'll do just a brief introduction. Today we're going to focus on cryptocurrency exchange. However, as many of us will talk throughout the day about blockchain applications, there are many blockchain applications where identity authentication is critical. And so, although we're focused on the cryptocurrency, I think it's reasonable to assume that there are many other applications on blockchain where this could be deployed. Okay? Our first product is the Crypto BioSecure. And so the premise is that there are huge inconveniences today in crypto exchanges. Hot or digital wallets are vulnerable to attack, as we saw with CoinCheck back in January, to the extent of over $500 million. Seeds and pins and passphrases, passcodes, those today are oftentimes manually managed, meaning that they're literally written on a piece of paper and put into a bank vault. These digital wallets have passwords as well as the cold wallets, and all of those can be lost, destroyed, or stolen. Let's say that you lose a device, a hardware wallet. The restoration process also requires pins, passphrases, passcodes. So it's very difficult today to get away from managing those. The realities of digital currency and why this is a very favorable value proposition for us is because the digital currency owners are responsible and liable for their money. There is no central entity, no financial institution, no bank that you can just walk into and show an ID and get anything restored, access to your account or otherwise. So the private key and the seed management are essential for the cryptocurrency owner. As well as with the hot wallets, digital wallets, anything that's stored on the internet is more subject to hacking than offline. So to date, Bitcoin losses total $15 billion from hacking because of soft wallets, hot wallets, digital wallets, or just leaving currency that is exposed to hacking. The hot wallets require these same passwords, while the cold wallets, although they're more secure because they're offline, they still require the passcode and phrases and pins to gain access. This is especially important when you're dealing with distributed teams. So for example, imagine a hedge fund or someone else, a company, a corporation that has cryptocurrency, where they have multiple people that are required to authenticate a transaction. This can be especially difficult. One of them might be in Zurich, one of them might be in London, one might be in New York, and they are all responsible for these transactions. So, crypto wallets that exist today. There are secure devices today that you can purchase. KeepKey, Ledger, Trezor, they have established themselves as very credible products in the market space. They've also established themselves as very difficult to use. They're kind of a pain to manage the passphrases and up to 24 randomly generated words that you have to keep track of in order, right? The way that we see many of the cold wallets and the hot wallets is that they all require this password authentication. They're all reasonably priced, so that's really not the issue. And certainly for hot wallets, it's a matter of just keeping your passphrases and codes, etc. But what we see is that it's the user experience that has an opportunity. Okay? So we have a patent pending solution to address this user experience associated with cold wallets, hardware wallets. The key to secure this digital transaction is actually you. Instead of having the passphrase, passwords, pins, etc., now it is a biometric device that has the same levels of security for authentication, same levels of encryption as existing products, but you apply your fingerprint, and that can also be multiple fingerprints. You can apply a sequence of fingerprints, okay? It could also be that you have multiple people that are required to authenticate. So there is another value proposition here that it not only validates your fingerprint, but it also knows that you are a live person. Now, where that's important is, and maybe some of you have tracked this, but every time the new iPhone comes out or a new Samsung device comes out, there's actually an international competition to see who can crack that first. And the latest iPhone fingerprint was cracked in less than 13 hours. It took 13 hours to crack the code and break into an iPhone using a fingerprint that was not from the user. Okay?
Photographic.
So whether it's a photo, whether it is an imprint, whether it's a lifted print that is then made into a glue model like Elmer's glue, so real high-end materials here that are being used. So the fact is that this will not work on this device. So the level of security for a biometric device has been enhanced. Multi-factor authentication gives you access to the wallet. Fingers from either hand can be used in a sequence to provide that validation, providing the multi-factor authentication. If the device is lost or stolen, the restoration seed is your fingerprint rather than a PIN or a passphrase. Yes, it's trying to get there. Okay. So you have the most secure of all the wallets without the hassle of managing the passwords. As cryptocurrency moves beyond the early adopters, who, I'll just use the term because I'm one of them, kind of a geek. We're a bunch of nerds for the most part, early adopters. As we move this into the space where it is the general population, the user experience is going to be more and more important for people. So the wallet initialization process, this is a very standard process for tokenization, etc. We are simply inserting the biometrics piece as part of the passphrase. Okay, so so I'll go through this pretty quick. The transaction process uses the tokenization that has become standard in the industry. And then the restoration process also uses the fingerprint as the private seed to restore onto a new device if your device was lost or stolen or broken. Okay? We have two configurations. Number one is a consumer. So it's someone who just owns their own cryptocurrency. Another is an enterprise solution where you require multiple people in an organization to authenticate. So those are actually two levels of service. The same hardware device, but the software is different. Okay? So where are we at in our development status? We have the hardware, as Howard demonstrated. The hardware is functional. It is a proven reader with encryption. The software connection between the cryptocurrencies and the blockchain, as well as the user interface, whether it be your laptop or tablet, those are the pieces that we are putting together now. Our team, Howard Prager is the founder and CEO. Myself and David Sharifi, we are part of the development team, as well as Gene Massey, who is actually here in our audience. And there we go. So Gene is also part of the team, as well as the financial, Gene Rorick. Now, the most important piece of this presentation is actually questions. And so we have a microphone.
Actually, the most important part is how to get more information, and that's at itbiometrics.com. You can register for more information about investing or anything like that that you would like. But any questions that you have right now, we would love to hear
I
them.
have the first question, and then I'll also pass the mic around so
Yes.
we can get good, clear questions.
Okay,
My
I'll
first
do that.
question is...
I'll bring the mic around.
I got one. I got one.
all right.
Stay there and answer the questions, Howard. My question is, what happens if you get kidnapped?
If you what?
If you get kidnapped, what happens if you get kidnapped?
Well, do you have your device with you?
Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Let's assume I've got the device with me and I get kidnapped.
Well,
and what happens?
You know, it has a 911 finger. So as a consequence, if you're kidnapped in a jurisdiction like the United States or United Kingdom or something like that, you use the 911 finger, and what it does is it summons police while at the same time makes the kidnapper think that you're obeying his commands. And as a consequence, the police are coming, and meanwhile he thinks that what you're doing is what he wants you to do.
So you can actually catch the kidnapper that way. Huh?
Catches the kidnapper.
Great. Questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, I have a question right here. We'll wait for the microphone here.
Hi there. Question is, what's the percentage of the market that has cold wallets, and what's your strategy to have those cold wallets to agree to implement your technology?
So
very good question.
I'm going to use some data from existing products that are on the market. The company called Ledger that sells their Nano S, in 2017, they sold 1 million devices, 1 million cold wallets. And what was interesting is the limitation to selling those was actually the production issues that they ran across. They had a lead time of 6 to 8 weeks throughout 2017 in terms of backlog orders. So I think people have seen the level of hacking that exists in the space today, and so they're shying away from many of the digital wallets that are available and moving to the hardware wallets.
And they were $100 a piece?
They were $99 a piece.
So they did $100 million worth of business, and they could have done how much more, do you think?
Well, it's not certain. I mean, obviously, I don't know exactly what they could have done, but just given the backlog, they could have done, 20%, 25% more, just given their backlog statistics. They also raised this year, in 2018, between the first of the year and the end of January, Ledger raised $76 million of funding to try and get their supply chain stabilized and all of that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of money that they see and that investors see in this space. We are trying to bring that same level, if not a little bit better level of security, but with a user experience that allows a more broader application, broader market. Yes, sir.
So from a technical perspective, how does the device communicate with the hardware wallets, and is that transmission secure?
So that device is a hardware wallet. So the device today has the encryption algorithms that captures the fingerprint and can match that with a private key. The tokenization of actually communicating and sending that token on to the blockchain is what we need to build out. But that device, the device that Howard has, is the wallet. Okay? Yes, sir.
So in the fund management model where you need multiple people to have access to that key, if those fund managers are in different locations and they each have a key, for instance, I need 3 keys in order to tap into that hardware wallet. Can they do that remotely from 3 different locations?
That is our intent. That's also part of what we have to build out. But yes, the intention is that we can consolidate each one of the authentications and put them together in the string that's required to actually transact on the blockchain.
Now, in the case that you have one person that has a biometric key and it's my own personal one, right?
Yes.
In my family trust, I can pass on my assets, but if the only
Correct.
way to get into my hardware wallet is if I'm alive.
Yes.
And I'm no longer alive.
No, that's a great point. And so what we have is, because we can add multiple people, multiple users to the same authentication, what you can do is have someone that has authorization from you where their fingerprint can be used to re-authenticate and to establish new credentials. So we have considered that as well, yes.
There's also another alternative that we've considered, and that is, this is a multiple answer to a single question, and that is if you lost your hand or you died and you had this device, how would somebody be able to retrieve your wealth? And the answer is that when we send you the device, we're going to send you a swab and ask you if you want to voluntarily swab yourself inside your cheek, send it to a laboratory that we're going to designate, and they will digitize your DNA, or they will save the swab, either one, your choice. And such time as we get a valid death certificate or a communication from you that you've lost your hand, we will be able to actually roll back the encryption on a one-time basis and send it to you or your estate, and you'll be able to have all of that data available in order to access it.
Joe, I have the last question over there. So this thing is going to, let's say 6 months, a year from now, if I go to the Best Buy or Costco, can I buy this element here?
Well,
Do you have any plan for
I hope so.
retail? I mean, no, I mean, you have any plan for
Yes.
retail?
Right, so early on, obviously, our plan is to launch through website so that you can purchase online. A lot of the crypto space, they don't walk down to Best Buy to buy things.
No,
They
later
buy
on.
them
I mean, you
online.
see these products
But
will
yes,
be.
it could
Do
be
you
something.
see your vision?
Yes.
These products will
Yes,
be
to have
something like the
retail.
flash memory right now.
Right.
It used to be ordered.
Right.
Now I can go buy flash memory.
Yes, because we see a large opportunity to address the common market.
Okay.
Rather than just the early adopters. And so, yes, there could be opportunities for online.
Well, thank you
as
very
well as
much.
retail.
Thank you. Thank you. The round of applause.